It's like, come on.
I don't know. My 4-year-old, he eats like a bird now for some reason.
Oh,
Like you feed him
So
seeds?
he'd probably eat 5 of them if I gave him 10.
That's weird. Anyway, so I have some grievances to air. Um, to our wonderful community, I know at least 200 of you regularly show up for the podcast, so why are y'all not going and watching Toy Therapy? Because that means you're showing up to watch us, 3 out of 4 idiots just talk, and that's just adding about toys, and that's just adding more people to talk about toys, with more tomfoolery to be had. So go watch Toy Therapy. It's fun, it's good, it deserves some goddamn love. We have some good guests. They deserve love too. Also, we're talking about all the shit that happened at Toy Fair. Hello and welcome to Modern Toy Fair. I am your host, Mr. Modern Toy Fair, and I am joined by the founder of the Neck Illuminati, the delayer of shipments, the procrastinator, the perfect person, the two-time daddy. My YouTube wife, Mrs. Modern Toy Fair, Jarmar_Games. But that's not all. I'm also joined by the consumer of all things vile, one of the former co-hosts of the Fairly Speaking podcast, the man with more titties than you can talk about, Corey. And noticeably missing is our wonderful co-host, Nate. Please send him your well wishes. He is currently shooting boulders out of his pee-pee, so he needs all the help he can get.
Are we telling the truth? Are we not? You don't know.
Yeah.
Could be a bit.
Right, as far as you guys are concerned, well, if you watch Toy Therapy, you know that he's already lost a foot, and now he's
That is true.
he's shooting, shooting bricks.
Not to be confused with blanks.
Yeah. Anyway, so what everyone's really here about is Toy Fair and some of the things that happened leading up at Toy Fair and leading up to Toy Fair. Mostly being that Mcfarlane announced that he's now doing IDW Ninja Turtle figures, like just out of the blue. And Mattel getting the DC Master license back from Spin Master. And what does that mean for DC Multiverse? So I guess we'll start at the top and work our way down. IDW Mcfarlane Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We saw Leonardo in a just a digital render. They apparently had some prototypes there, but no one was allowed taking pictures of them. What are our thoughts, feelings, predictions?
Ooh. Well, I mean, my first thought is I'm not surprised at this point. I know it was like a running joke, and I'm assuming it was actually found it to be actually correct. But number one toy was that last year or 2 years ago now?
Oh, it was. I think it's almost every year now because he produces so much. But yeah,
Yeah.
number one toy line.
Toy line,
Something like
shipper,
that, yeah.
supplier, something like that. And
Yeah,
you don't
some
think
bullshit
Nickelodeon's
award
like,
where it's because he has
Yeah.
300 fucking figures come out a year. They're like, you're the best.
But Nickelodeon wants a part of that money, so of course they're gonna give out the license to the old Toddy. So I mean, I guess I'm not surprised.
That's right. Business is business, and for some reason, Ninja Turtles is like
Crack.
they're like the whore of the toy industry now, man. They're just handing that license out to anybody.
They prefer
Like,
sex workers, sir.
have you tried to get the Ninja Turtles toy license?
I may have debated on it, you know.
Do you think we could make a Ninja Turtles toy line at this point?
No, but I think we could
Right.
make Ninja Turtle themed overlays for the show. Officially
Yeah, I
licensed
mean-
ones.
Officially licensed, I think we could get it. I think we could
Yeah.
get it. You know what? And I'm just amazed. Like, maybe he's gonna bring back the turtle pies. You know, maybe this is McFarlane's way of getting into the food industry.
Oh, I was like, what's turtle pie? I was so confused.
Oh, you know the turtle pie. Come on.
Yeah, the big turtle.
So I guess
I
another
don't
question.
know, dude. I'm just
Oh, go ahead.
So this is like my way of thinking. Like if I just saw that like concept picture, I'd be like, oh, cool, they're gonna add articulation later. But now I'm not too sure because I told myself the same thing when I saw those giant like Godzilla or not Godzilla, King Kong, and now the shown Titano, and they showed like the same type of drawing, concept drawing at the beginning. They were like, King Kong is going to be with Batman. It's like cool,
Yeah.
But then when the toy actually came out, it's like got what 4 points of articulation.
So I can't remember if it was Preternia or someone's. They had prototypes there of the Turtles, Rocksteady Bebop, and I think Slash, and they are gonna have the full McFarlane 37.5 points of articulation.
It just threw me for such a loop with those other figures. I was like, what the hell? Like, if you're gonna show a prototype drawing, you should just. I mean, it's just a line. Just be like, hey, here's a piece. Here, articulation will be here. You know. So if it's gonna have all the articulation, that's cool. But the 5-inch Loyal Subjects figures were pretty cool too. And I just don't know if there's like originally IDW, the comic book line, like the first volume, amazing and has a ton of followers. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to 2025, IDW is about to go bankrupt. Jason Aaron's Ninja Turtle run is already like in the crapper, and like I think only 2 or 3 issues have come out, and it's been critically panned. Like people are just like, this is not that good at all. And I don't know. I just feel like everybody's getting their fill of other Ninja Turtle stuff, nostalgic Ninja Turtle stuff, from so many other toy companies. Like, I don't know. I just think.
Well, this is McFarlane, though. This is the man who's like, girl toys don't sell. You really think he's going to do the current day stuff? He's going to go back and do the IDW stuff that was popular. That's why he's got. That's why the
going IDW like.
I think he's doing first 100 issues like IDW,
like Mirage, like OG, like.
I'm talking like IDW from like the start, like
I was gonna say
the issue 1 through 100. Like he's gonna do, you know, all the turtles the way they were looking in that, the villains the way they looked in that the first. Like I don't see him doing like the 5th turtle,
Venus.
No,
or
Jenica. Anytime soon. I don't see him doing any of the like newer what did you call them, Jarmar? The in the new like books from last year.
Like the furry turdies?
Yeah, the furry turdies.
I mean, that's like one like in the I guess it's after 100s. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I could understand him not going that far, but
I still see him doing it just because of who Todd is.
I don't know what. No, I get you. I just don't know what kind of audience, like how much of an audience it is. Is there people who are like, man, I love Ninja Turtles, and I only buy McFarlane toys that are like, I am feeling highly underrepresented. I can't talk right now. I'm not highly underrepresented right now, and I need to have something specifically from McFarlane. Like what, outside of like costs. I could get that aspect of it, but like outside of that, what else are we like? What do you think?
Well, I mean,
can actually legitimately bring other than just another
villains for one. Like I said, they allegedly he had prototypes of Rocksteady and Bebop. Loyal Subjects has given us 7 different versions of Shredder and Rat King. That's really it.
That may be for a reason, though.
Because their line isn't doing well because the figures are pretty mid. Like, I like them, but like, let's face it, at the end of the day, they weren't the best quality. Like when we've been fed NECA quality for so many years, and then to take a step back for the IDW Turtles to be at that quality, like I'm not a big fan of the McFarlane articulation, but I'm going to give it a chance just because at least then I'll know like, oh, I can pose this figure without it falling apart.
I mean, I have all 4 of the IDW Turtles. They didn't fall apart on me.
maybe you got like a second run or something like that, but mine, I had all 4 of them when they first came out. Let's see, Raph's one arm, if you like rotated it like a certain way, it would just pop out without any effort, like not like they're like a gorilla trying to pose it. Some of the legs were a little wobbly. Leo also had an issue with his arm where it would like either get stuck or pop out. All of their like tails to their mask bandanas like fucking fall out if the wind blows the wrong way.
So like with what I said, being like the negative, the positive, just the 4 turtles, with the wraps around their arms and stuff, like it's a very cool modern-esque take on the turtles. So I mean, if you're looking for an affordable set, because I mean I'm assuming they're going to be like $22-25.
Well, they're page punchers, so what do the page punchers go through for? Those are 30.
Page punchers.
Yeah, it's the ones that come with the stupid fucking comic book.
I thought those were less articulation.
No, so they have 2 different versions of page punchers. They have the page punchers that come with the little figure, and they have the page punchers that come with the full figure. It's very confusing and convoluted.
Okay.
The page puncher has like the Ghost of Zod is the one I can remember.
Didn't it have like the Caveman series came in that?
Caveman back. Yeah. Yes. So
they're the ones that are like bright white packaging, and it's the clamshell instead of the cardboard.
Yeah. All right, so these are going to come in clamshell?
Probably, yeah, if they're page punchers.
Yeah, because they're going to come with
Which paying the inflated price for the comic book is just annoying to me.
He probably was like, I'm gonna do this, and then he realized that he could get IDW comic books for like 10 piece or some shit. Like,
well, they're reprinting it. It's not going to be the original. Like,
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
But even then, like it was probably a situation where they're like, hey, maybe this can help revive our comics if he's re-releasing select issues of the Turtles, and then get people into it. It's Mcfarlane, please. I'm shocked these things aren't already on shelves.
You didn't see. You're shocked you didn't see them till like today.
Yeah, like I'm shocked that like everything else he does like doesn't even get announced, and it shows up at Target and Walmart, and then he's like, oh yeah, by the way, this is coming out, and he's like, oh no, it's already out, honey. Like we're well past that. So like
like how the hell is there a Two-Face and a Dr. Fate being shown on a shelf in California, yet they were just at Toy Fair, and those figures have never been announced.
Yep.
Not once. It was like, what? I mean, I kind of like it. It's kind of exciting to see that stuff, but it's just like at a business standpoint, you would think that you would just be like at least like having them there and be like, these are new figures that we're making. I don't know.
Give a date for anticipation.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's just weird. It's a weird license, but everybody has it now.
I'm here for it just because I love IDW. That's why I bought the Loyal Subjects ones, because I was like, I'll support it just to be able to get those turtles, and then they didn't do anything else that I wanted. Yeah. Like I got Shredder, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then like I still never got Dark Leo, even though I wanted it, because now, and I'm kind of happy I didn't, because now apparently I can go to Ross and find it. And that was a Comic-Con exclusive. And yeah, I'm cautiously curious just to see how it goes, just because he will go and give us a lot more than IDW did. The quality will technically be better. I'm hoping that what people are saying online who actually saw them is true, and that they will have the full articulation like a Mcfarlane figure. It's Mcfarlane, so I'm not his biggest fan. So we'll see how it goes. Do we think that do we think this means Loyal Subjects is done? They're not doing the Turtles anymore? Because I can't imagine there'd be two IDW lines going at the same time.
Right.
I would honestly, other than what they were coming out with Ninja Turtles, what were they doing anymore? Like they've kind of halted all of their other lines. So
Yeah, I don't think I've
they
seen
might be done as a company.
Well, that's what happens when you
First,
release.
have all the blind bags and shit
Yeah,
like
which
that.
that stuff could probably keep them
sells.
afloat if they keep doing
Yeah.
that. But yeah, their figures, like, unfortunately, just the quality
Aren't
wasn't
great,
there. Like they either fell
Yeah.
apart or they looked like shit. There was really no in between.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, is there much overlap with the license? I feel like Nickelodeon's pretty good with that, at least.
Not really. Because think
Yeah.
about it, Super 7's doing 03, and NECA's
And they
doing
stopped doing
89
that, so.
in 2012.
Yeah, everybody
And
pretty much has their own
yeah,
right now.
Playmates is doing reissues of their own stuff and the new Turtles. Trying to think of who else has the, like, aside from Funko, who just does all of it because it's pops and it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to think if there's anyone else who has the Turtle license that's making things currently that like would be relevant in that category.
Technically, Mattel with Master stuff.
Oh yeah, they've got, but that's also an original like idea. That's not like
another,
so there's not like
overlap.
any copycat. Like, I guess Best Action did do the Toon Turtles while NECA was doing Toon Turtles, but
that's true.
Like, that's
they
like
did the Punk Turtles at the same time.
They also did the normal Turtles.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe that was just coincidence.
Which makes me wonder if maybe there was like something, that's why they got into the IDW ones, was because there was like an issue or something like that. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. I have to imagine they're probably gonna be done because they aren't gonna be able to compete with Mcfarlane being at like a $20 to $30 price range, and being significantly better.
What was the what's that hermit crab guy's name in the comic book? Because I thought he was awesome. Didn't he have like a doctor for a shell or something?
Oh no, I don't remember.
It was real early on.
In my head, I feel like I can see what you're saying.
How early on? Because like I feel like I stopped shortly after the death of Donatello thing got resolved. Just because I bought the books, I just didn't have time to read them, so I just never did.
Was that
right now?
Oh, I don't have them anymore. I did.
Herman. His name's Herman.
Yeah,
Herman the Hermit. Okay.
I would love a box set of that dude.
I mean, that is
because he's like a military dude and he's got a bunch of weapons in his dumpster shell. So cool. I could see Mcfarlane doing some fun stuff with them.
Real quick in the chat, we've got Anthony Albert. How's it going? I didn't get a notification that you were live. Well, good old YouTube just suppressing us from being successful, as always. He did agree loyal subjects fall apart pretty easily. Fig Fan Samurai, those TMNT will be 5-inch page punchers, so 20 to 25. Those page punchers turtles are already at Ross. Huh?
It's probably a joke.
Oh, okay.
Like they're already at Ross. Wait, it's 5-inch.
Well, I think they're 5-inch. Like the turtles be 5-inch because you have to remember he actually does things mildly to scale.
Yeah.
So like to make big Roxy.
IDW kind of did too. That's why I bought them, so they were like in scale with my
loyal subjects.
Loyal subjects.
Yeah, loyal subjects one.
But I just meant like he does them in like set way. If those are 5-inch, he can do Rocksteady and Bebop at 7-inch or so,
right.
and it not be like a huge cost like a mega figure, but still be like in scale with the turtles would be my guess. Fifth Answer says, yeah, that was a joke.
I really do like the IDW Shredder design. So
that's like my favorite Shredder.
We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I'm curious, and obviously I'm gonna buy at least the turtles.
We'll probably know in a month. Yeah. Let's be honest. With the way that Todd is, like I feel like the only reason why he didn't show them, I have to assume is probably because it's like pending Nickelodeon's approval. But he's probably already shipped them from the factory, so it doesn't matter. Cause like, did you see that video he put out where he the classic Mortal Kombat line he's doing is like still pending license approval, and he's like, well, my name's on the company, so if I can't do it, then what else? Who could? And he like goes and like shows them off, even though like it says like no photography, like no one else was allowed to take pictures.
So like that brings up an interesting point. So when we talk about the DC stuff, that it's that Nate actually made me think about. Are we going to talk about the DC stuff?
Yeah,
now,
unless there's something else you guys want to say about the Turtles.
Did I jump the gun?
No, because I feel like we were already on the way there anyway, because we were pretty close to the end of the Turtle stuff anyway. So yeah, Mattel.
How weird is this though? Like we all just came to the conclusion that we're probably all going to buy McFarlane Ninja Turtle figures.
It is wild. But it makes sense. It makes sense that it's the IDW ones though, because of all the Turtles that he would like be down to do, it would be the IDW ones.
Yeah.
I just assumed throughout all of the time that we've recorded and we've talked about Turtles and all these years, at some point we've had to have said that McFarlane's going to make Turtles.
We did an entire episode where we fan booked who would get what license if things switched up, and now it's like shit's hitting the fan. Because even then, before we move on to DC stuff, there's rumors that Todd's trying to make a bid to get 7-inch Marvel figures. So
it's crazy.
There's no more rules.
Yeah,
it's out the window.
Yeah, this last week really did feel like just the rule book is out the window. Speaking of which, Mattel paid a fuckload of money to get the master license to DC back from Spin Master. So this raises a lot of questions.
I mean, do we know that though?
I mean, as much as we know anything, but
right.
That's what
I'm saying, is every article makes it sound like a win for Mattel, which I get. It should.
Yeah.
Because you need to be positive about these things going out. That's the whole reason the articles are being written in the first place, as promotion for
even then, toy line. Like, I know that you're down on DC because of, it's had a rough couple decades, but we have to be honest with ourselves. Batman is one of the most popular IPs on the planet.
For sure.
Like it's in the top 10 most profitable, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure number 1 is Pokemon, and then it goes down. Spider-Man's pretty high up there, but Batman is up there. And
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find a picture that I want to show you guys.
And I feel like McFarlane proved that because he's released 300 different Batman figures and they all fucking sell every time. And then he'll reissue them with a slightly different look or cape, and people buy them again. So this is a win for Mattel ultimately. They could literally just do a Batman line where they use Batman a bunch, some of his sidekicks, and some of the villains, and just rake in the cash to try to save the company. They could do a Batman He-Man crossover like the Turtles, and it would probably do really well. But the question comes down to, what are they going to do? Are they going to go into the 6-inch again? Are they just going to take over the smaller, more kid-friendly line that Spin Masters was doing? Where do we think Mattel's going with this? Is Mattel going to try to get back into the big boy game, or are they just doing this to have a passive kids line that will hopefully do well for them?
So, if I was in charge of it, I would try to do something that Hasbro did back when they originally bought Marvel Legends, where you try to reinvigorate the line that's already made. You do still have collectors that held on to their DC Classics lines, held on to all that stuff, and the ability to update, upgrade, but also continue that line is probably your best bet. Because we're coming right off of DC Multiverse from McFarlane. People were collecting that, for better or worse, the people that were collecting that, there's going to be some people that are going to be burnt, that are going to be like, man, I don't want to collect a new line. There's going to be people like that. And to bring back a lot of those older fans that were kind kind of almost disenfranchised when it went to Mcfarlane. You want to bring those guys back, and the best way to do that would be to, hey, remember all those action figures you bought before? We're gonna continue that line down the road, you know. So, and then move on from there. I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe David Vonner used to work for Mattel. Is it Von? It was David Vonner.
I don't know who the fuck that is. So we're not Nate, man. You're barking up the wrong tree with that.
I think if he's the one I'm thinking of, Nate's probably screaming on his bed right now watching us.
Of course he is. He's shooting boulders out of his pee-pee.
He's screaming, but not for.
So right before Mcfarlane bought them, he was working in Mattel, and he tried to pitch them an idea of, listen, Mattel needs to make a.
We lost Jarmar.
Oh, did we lose Jarmar?
Yeah. What the fuck?
Hi, you're here, but you're no video.
Oh, that's because it's just opened back up.
Oh, there we go.
That was very weird.
That was weird. What did you do that for?
I didn't. My computer just said goodbye.
Nate was just so mad that he.
Did he hack us?
Yeah, he's hacked you and was like, "Get the fuck out of there! I need to be in there." Fifth Samurai, I agree. Nate should be here, but he's in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So.
In all seriousness,
he pitched an idea that would be like reinvigorating. Here, I found the picture. This would like reinvigorate the DC Classics line, and it would be comparable to Marvel Legends at the time, which he shared this after like he was not employed by Mattel anymore, and it made everybody like just shit the bed. And it was like,
oh yeah, I remember that.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that picture?
Yep.
And it like broke the internet for a minute. And then everybody was like super butthurt because they were like, well, we want this. We don't want Mcfarlane stuff.
Yep, I remember that.
So this right here would be a game changer for DC and Mattel going forward. If they could make figures that looked like this, it'd be incredible. It'd be what everybody was wanting in the first place. They want a Marvel Legends comparable series for DC.
And I'm going to tell you how they get there.
So
they had a pretty successful line in recent years that would be perfect to basically use the base like articulation sculpt-esque accessory setup, and that is was it the Masters Universe? Was it Revelations?
Yeah, these guys. Or well, this is New Eternia, but these types of guys.
like the New Eternia stuff and the Revelations, where they're 6-inch figures, great articulation, tons of accessories, and like everyone loved it. Like
I almost feel like these are 7-inch figures though.
It may be a little bigger, but either way, you get where I'm coming from. Like they use that model. They can still like
definitely
use it as a way to like reignite the classics line. Maybe they call it classics and still use the orange coloring or something. But I think that's the way to go. You give people these characters that they love, and you give them the accessories to the level that they were doing with the He-Man figures. And it doesn't matter if you've spent the past 5 years collecting Mcfarlane, because guess what? Mcfarlane, you had to fight tooth and nail to get a fucking extra set of hands or an extra head. He made you buy a whole other figure to get an extra head usually. Up until recently, his accessories bin was very low. So if you get a good looking figure with good articulation and it has a bunch of accessories that are like actually relevant and not just filler, like 2 little chode things that come with a superhero turtle to bump it up to $54 fucking dollars, then
just know those.
Huh? No one will fucking want to buy those.
So a lot of people in the Marvel Legends realm and your realm of action figure photography love the no pins, but nobody talks about it in the Masters of the Universe toy lines and forums. They never talk about pinless figures, and they've been doing it for a while.
That is one thing that does worry me about the McFarlane Turtles, is the fact that he has not joined the pinless world. He is still in the big old bulky ass fucking pins with the weird ball joint thing. So I'm terrified about that. But hell, I'm almost certain. Where is he? Even the best action turtles were pinless.
Yeah.
I literally just looked at mine on the shelf. Yeah. I looked at my Donnie. They were pinless.
Ultimately, too, I can only imagine it's an easier way to manufacture.
You'd think. You don't have all because they don't have to pop it in. They just push it up, click, push it up, click. You're done.
I don't even think they do that. I think they mold it all at the same time.
I feel like it would get stuck together then.
Yeah, I would say that.
No, they use different chemical release agents. Like, so in the elbow, you have a different chemical than the forearm, and then it molds all together.
In the shin bone and the toe bone and the backbone connected to the head bone.
But either way, yeah. I mean, it'll be really interesting to see what Mattel does. And if it's 6-inch, so McFarlane owns, like, flat out owns, like,
DC Direct,
right? Mm-hmm. And he has access to, like, all of the Warner Brother archives. Like, I think the dude has, like, way more pull or something in Warner Brothers in general, because Warner Brothers is a shell. But I almost think, like, if DC Multiverse were to continue as a 7-inch line, I feel like he could totally do that, like, through his McFarlane store, because he's been releasing exclusive figures on there to more frequency.
Yeah,
we got this.
I think that's just him trying to make more money and give the special feeling of, like, oh, I'm getting something exclusive, something hard to get. I don't think that's so much just, like, for other reasons.
But what I'm saying is, like, we were talking about how would that conflict with, him being on the shelf at the same time? Well, he wouldn't need to be at all. I mean, and honestly, like, who else would you need for DC Multiverse? Like, some classic, like, I would like a classic Scarecrow or something like that. Once in a while, like once a month or something, he comes out with one figure. I could totally see that still happening, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. But I also see Marvel Legends, their contract is up with Hasbro in 2026. And Hasbro's CEO basically today was saying the tariffs are going to raise our prices, and, like, literally, he said everything except the words. Basically, Hasbro's going to go bankrupt. Like, I mean, he really, like, kind of, like,
screw the line.
Look on his face was like, I think we're done. I think we're good.
Wizards of the Coast alone will be able to sustain at least Hasbro staying alive a little bit. They might not do action figures anymore, but Wizards of the Coast makes so much money. That's the only thing keeping them afloat, really, honestly, at this point in general.
Yeah, they will exist as something.
Which he's already said in interviews that he wants to shift Hasbro to be more of a gaming company, board games, video games, card games, all that stuff. So,
yeah, that stuff's not going anywhere anytime soon.
But yeah,
wink,
so
wink, a joke.
They can print it here.
I am curious to see if Mattel, pulls the, daddy card of I own this and, like, says McFarlane can't do it anymore, so that way there's no competition. Because even if they make outstanding figures, like you said, there's people already invested in the McFarlane line. So if it continues, there's a good chance they stick with that, especially if prices are going to go up, then switch to a new line. But if that line doesn't exist anymore, well, then that line's completed. You can move on because you have nothing else to buy because nothing else is coming out for you.
But I'm saying, like, McFarlane would exist more like the Marvel Selects existed in tandem with Marvel Legends. Like, he comes out with one once a month. It's not going to affect anything. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just if he's allowed to. That's not really like I don't think he has the pull you think he does. Like, I think he
I think he's got big.
I think he's doing well and is in their favor, but it really comes down to what the contract says for Mattel. Because if Mattel bought the master license and it says they can dictate who can make things at whatever scale, like Playmates used to with Turtles, then it just comes down to what the contract says. And if they paid the ass ton of money that like everyone's claiming they did, I can't imagine they didn't dictate that they were going to get final say.
So here's the reason why I don't think that's the case. I think DC is becoming more of an IP like Ninja Turtles, where they're like, who wants it?
Well, at that point, then why would the master license be bought and switched? Why wouldn't it have just been a situation where they're like, well, instead of buying the master license, why don't we just license it to you for X amount? Like, why would they take it away from Spin Master?
Because I think Spin Master doesn't want it anymore. I don't think it was doing very well for Spin Master. You got to think, Mattel had Imaginext, which was a powerhouse in its own. And Spin Master has been trying to capitalize on that, and it's been a rough go in comparison to what Mattel was able to do with a child's DC brand in comparison to what Spin Master tried to do with a child's DC brand. I think that's the difference.
But it shocks me when people say that the Spin Master wasn't successful, because I know multiple people who have kids who are DC fans, and they bought them every single one of those little posable figures of all the different. Like, they made deep fucking cuts in that in a kids line, like characters you wouldn't expect. Like, I'm pretty sure they had Deathstroke and Hush and a bunch of other like very adult characters in this line. That was a kids line that were being bought up, along with all the play sets, all the vehicles. Hell, people bought that shitty Flash Batwing to use with their 6-inch figures because of the size of it. So that way they didn't have to spend $300 on the Mcfarlane one.
I don't think it pales. I think it pales in comparison to what Mattel was able to do with that line.
Well, yeah, but I'm not just because Mattel was more successful doesn't mean that they aren't successful. Like it's not you're a winner or you're a loser. Like, this isn't Ricky Bobby. Like, there's first place, there's third place, hell, there's even fourth place. Like, you can still be profitable.
You said it yourself. They bought the license.
Well,
I don't think Spin Master has the pull.
I don't think they had the wallet. Mattel has a much bigger pull of money than Spin Master does. Spin Master isn't a giant company that owns its own IPs and is making a bunch of stuff constantly.
I'm trying to think when Spin Master bought them, how long did they have it for?
Didn't they buy it? They're the reason that Mattel lost it to Mcfarlane, right? I could have swore that they bought it back in 2019, 2020.
I think you're frozen, Michael.
I am. Can you hear me at least?
I can hear you, but you're touching your lip for a very long time.
Oh, sometimes you just gotta nibble on your finger.
I mean, I know you're hungry, but
I mean, I had fucking cheese cubes for dinner. Well, here we'll just be a little weird for a second. Boop. See if it comes back or
okay. So Nate is doing this.
Nate is fucking with us. There we go. Now I'm back. At least for me, I'm back. I can see myself.
Yeah.
Fake Fan Samurai says pin joints are better for customizers. Mcfarlane DC seemed to favor customizers. Feels like the line was made for that. I don't think it was made for that. I think Todd's just old school. He's stuck in his ways. I don't think he gave a shit about it for customizers.
Here's something interesting. The original article back in 2022, Spin Master's license was supposed to go through 2026.
Mm-hmm. It still is.
Is it?
Yeah, Mattel's going to start making toys either end of this year or beginning of next year, and Spin Master will have their toys coming out through the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, so the contract's coming up. They negotiated. Mattel apparently outbid them, or they just didn't want to renew it for whatever reason, or couldn't afford to outbid Mattel or something.
So, and that was ultimately the point that I was trying to get across. I think it's weird that Mcfarlane and Spin Masters. They're two completely separate companies, and they both were like, and the licenses that they held were both, did not affect each other. Now,
well, Spin Masters didn't make, adult figures though. They didn't make 6 or 7-inch figures. So,
but we don't even know. Like, we don't even know if McFarlane's license is going to totally go away. He's definitely going to keep making statues and everything else because he's DC Direct. But I just think that's super curious. Like, that's super weird that both of them were like, we're good. Like, maybe.
I am shocked that Todd didn't. Like, you think with him being the man who blew through money like it was fucking growing in his backyard back in the day, I'm shocked he didn't throw his hat in the ring and outbid Mattel.
Because I don't think it's as lucrative as an IP anymore. I don't think there's the fan base there, and that's what a Marvel Legends-esque style classics line would bring back is those fans that they lost along the way. I think that's exactly what DC needs to, because interest in the video games is so low. Interest in the comic books is so low. The animated movies is so low across the board. It's like nobody cares. Nobody cares at all.
Video games is more of a Warner Brothers studio problem because they insisted that everything moved to games of service instead of being an actual game like the Arkham games, which kind of killed it.
It does not.
But also, I think the movies not being as big either.
But that could change come July.
Across the board.
That's true. Maybe that's what I was betting on.
Across the board, still, you are saying, but
comics everywhere are across the board are doing shit, so you can't use that against them. We just talked about IDW going out of business, but like Marvel isn't doing anything special either.
You can't use video games against them, even though at its peak, you had Suicide Squad had like 12,000 players at its peak, and Marvel Rivals now at its peak has 425,000 players.
Well, here's the difference.
Not quite fair.
Suicide Squad, you had to buy the game. Marvel Rivals was free.
Also, Suicide Squad was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was a bad game, and you had to pay for it.
Boring, bad game.
Yeah.
Whereas like Marvel Rivals is basically kind of stilling.
It's Overwatch with
already. Yeah, it's already stilling an idea. But I hear you.
Listen,
yeah.
I am in terms of a DC fan. I would consider myself as big of a DC fan as Jarmar is a Ninja Turtles fan, because like I was the guy that was like fighting for everything. And if Nate was here, he'd be like, yeah, that's right. Everything.
Bro, I was right there with you. I was holding the torch for the Snyderverse and all that shit. I've been a DC fanboy forever until recent years.
I am telling you right the fuck now. There is no interest. There is no interest in any of this shit. From month to month, I see it. There's just no interest. They could come out with a new Arkham game right now, and it would not do very good because there's just no an interest. I
disagree about that. I feel
like ultimately people are like, too much Batman. It's like, I
think if they came out with an Arkham game that was more traditional, like the old Arkham games, it would
I don't know.
do well.
I feel like I'm kind of with you on that as well, though, is because everyone says that's what they want until it comes out and they're just like, yeah, we just fondly remember this game.
And it's
but I don't think it's I think there's a little bit more to blame than just like not being no one cares about DC, because Batman is still like just seeing the logo alone. It's almost like no one cared about Sonic until like the Sonic franchise was really good.
Sonic games were like on death's door until those movies came out, and then the games started to like improve.
And you kind of have to include like the idea of having like a family fun that sounds kind of weird because Marvel like isn't really family fun, but it kind of is. But like everything
For the most part,
DC
they are.
seems to be like dark and mean, and so like I think it just needs more mass appeal, and maybe that could happen with like
With
like you
Superman.
said, the movies and stuff with Superman and whatnot, and it could bring it back, and then Mattel looks like geniuses for being like, see, we knew DC property was gonna blow up, and McFarlane was
Listen,
like, hey, you can't make these anymore, but I don't care because I have turtles now,
yeah.
and now he makes 17,000 turtle toys in a year, so
I
it's
am pretty sure
possible.
Carlin though is making the Superman figures.
Oh, probably yeah.
Oh
With
yeah,
it
that would
being in
make sense.
July, they're like I said, Mattel doesn't start until
They
2026.
already have that shit leaked. What?
Which that'll be a weird transition if you think about that. If
Yeah,
you know get those, and then the next movie that comes out is
You don't get
from
McFarlane,
Mattel.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Makes you
weird.
wonder how well those figures do if that being a risk.
if you
Yeah,
think about it, it's exactly how it happened the last time.
Oh yeah, because it was at the tail end.
yeah.
Or it was at tail end of Justice League or
Because
Justice League and all that.
DC Direct was like, we're coming out with our collector line, and then Mattel was like, well, here's our dog shit. Like,
Those were
and we're
so
making
bad.
the worst fucking figure. But so and then DC Direct was just kind of like, we got the two out, the Superman and then the armored Batman, which were awesome figures, by the way. I still have them because
I remember
they are
seeing them.
incredible.
Weren't they a little more expensive, like 35 or some shit back then?
Yeah, but
Which that was back before like price hikes happened, so when figures were normally like $20. So I think that deferred me from them a little bit.
but the Batman lights up.
I don't
His
give a
eyes
shit
get-
about
Oh,
light up
the
effects.
eyes.
Like
What do you mean? You're an action figure photographer. You should want
that
light
just
up.
that makes it harder because guess what? Usually those light effects, unless they do a lot of paint on the inside of the sculpt, makes the entire fucking face light up when you turn the lights off. I've seen enough of the light up Cyclops figures from Mezco and all that shit where like his face glows red like it's about to erupt out of his entire head.
You're gonna make me go get this goddamn figure.
Give it more lifelike to me. To be
But
honest.
I do agree with you though. The animation division of DC has died off. They had a huge following at first,
Yeah.
and then they got real convoluted where they were using classic stories with the new 52 characters and mixing things up, which started to kill it. And then people just quit caring. Hell, there's a new fucking Superman like show out, and I didn't even know about it. Like, so I get it, but comics overall I feel like are dying, unfortunately.
Bad.
Video games, I mean, the only good like you said, Marvel Rivals is like a whole thing because it's Overwatch with Marvel skin and it's free to play.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
and I feel like Spider-Man only did as well as it did because it had a good developer making it. And it was also funded by Sony and PlayStation versus the DC games were just like whatever studio they could get to do it for cheap.
Yeah.
And Warner Brothers was trying to like change everything. Like there was a lot more involved in that versus it being a lot more tight knit with the Spider-Man games.
This is another thing that fuels my theory that the DC IP is just being hoarded out like the Ninja Turtles. The other day I got an ad and I thought it was fake for a new mobile game. Like, do you know like when you see those mobile games and it's like I don't even know like a king and he's like in a dungeon and then it's like, oh, scoop out the treasure.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And then like pull the thing.
Yeah. There is a DC Comics version of that. I was like, that is so sad, man.
No, to be
this
fair,
is
that
what we're at.
DC may not know.
That may not be licensed. Let's be honest.
No, dude, it's freaking licensed. It's licensed because it shows like Batman and Superman.
Just because it shows them doesn't mean it's licensed.
But like,
go download it and see if it pops up with the trademark and all of that at the beginning, saying it's officially licensed.
it is officially licensed.
Over in the chat, 50M Samurai laughed at the Ricky Bobby comment. He said, "We will see some overlap at the beginning of 2026." Anthony Albert, while DC is low, all it takes is one movie to hit and change their luck. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Look even like we talk about how great Marvel's doing.
Dark Legion.
I mean that
so
that looks dope though.
Official.
But he's not wrong. Look at Marvel. Marvel's movie division is struggle busing to get through to get to this next phase, and realistically, Fantastic Four could change that. Like, one movie could completely turn everyone from being like, oh, I'm over Marvel, Marvel sucks, Marvel's woke, blah 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 blah, to Marvel's back, baby. Like,
could that, at some point, or not at some point, but in some way, give credence to what he's saying is that maybe people just don't care about it. Maybe it's just too much going on in the real world that we're like, we don't have time for superheroes. And
yeah, it's very hard to
but like a lot of this like started before things started getting really bad.
Yeah.
Like, there were still bad things happening the past couple of years, but the Marvel fatigue and like people not enjoying the movies started after No Way Home. Every movie after that, people were like, oh, that sucked, Marvel's lost their way, oh, this, that, and the other. So, like, with the exception of a few of the shows...
Look at Marvel Legends, too. I mean, after like the movies kind of stopped hitting that high peak, I mean, I shortly lost interest in like buying Marvel Legends just because it was like,
that and with the price hikes and stuff.
Like... Yeah, that with the price hikes, it was like, I don't really need these per se. So
I think Marvel's getting primed again for some good movies, because the Captain America movie I thought was great. I really did. And I thought it made a bottom for the fallout of this it's just so many movies that were not so good. And I think that it gave everybody like, okay, this is a good starting point. That being said, I feel like we're still jumping the gun on this event and like new Avengers movies. I'm like, man, you gotta like build this up a little more. Like, I know there's been like all these movies, but it truly feels like Captain America was like, okay, chapter 1. It really.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And, you have to also keep in mind that these movies, I feel like, these aren't the end game. To me, these feel like
I already saw that one.
The cleanup step. These ones feel like, okay, we've created this mess with the multiverse. Mm-hmm. This is going to reset everything to zero, where we have all these new IPs that we got back that we've been like waiting to show. We've got all this stuff going on. Like, I feel like a lot of these characters are going to die and get erased and either get recast or just get, reworked somehow or go away for a while. I think it's going to be very X-Men heavy, very Fantastic Four heavy, with some of the other popular characters sprinkled in. But I don't think we see a lot of Avengers for a while in this next phase. So I really do feel like the two Avengers movies are more so to reset everything, so that way they can get to the stuff that they've been wanting to do.
I'll be honest, I love Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. Love it. It's everybody does. But like lately, I've been reading like old Iron Man books, and I'm just like, man, we were robbed of like a lot of good Iron Man stories. Mm-hmm. That like we could have had like 2 more Iron Man movies that would have been real fun. Captain America kind of reinforces that with like it's like espionage action and stuff. It's like, man, there was some really cool Iron Man stories that they just kind of glossed over that we could have seen.
Yeah,
but hard telling where it'll go from here.
Yeah. All right. So
I don't know what we're talking about.
We are nearing the end here. We're getting sun's getting real low, big guy. So we're gonna get just a couple minutes. Pick your favorite announcement from Toy Fair, and we'll discuss it briefly.
Oh, crap.
Well, mine's easy.
Yeah. So your favorite. For me, seeing the 2012 Turtles, like actual prototypes, like I'm super excited for that. Seeing that they have Shredder already made, seeing them tease other characters, like I don't know if I'll get the Foot Soldiers or not, but I'll for sure get Shredder and the Turtles, and I wouldn't mind getting like Slash. I think my only concern will be like what the alternate heads look like, because like Donnie's head looks kind of dopey, and Leo's just kind of got a little bit of a frown. He's like sad boy Leo. Meanwhile, you've got Raph, who just looks like he's pissed off, and then Mikey, who's having the time of his life. So it's just very confusing to me. But yeah, that was probably my favorite thing to see all weekend. I mean, there was a lot of turtle stuff that I'm excited to see. My biggest fear is based off of some of the pre-orders that went up, what the prices are going to be on these.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. NECA already put a tariff warning out to their buyers, like the storefronts, and they said, after you buy after I think it's like after April, it's going to be a hefty fee.
Yeah,
so
20% fucking tariffs. What do you expect?
Well, never mind. We'll derail the podcast.
Yep.
I feel like a lot of the NECA stuff is awesome, but I don't know. When I look at my collection and like what I want in it and what I don't, there's some of it that I just like, that's cool that you guys made that, but I don't feel like that's for me. One being the concept movie Turtles. I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't really need a Bebop and Rocksteady that could have been in Secret of the Ooze.
Not to mention, I would love that concept because I love Rocksteady and Bebop. I just think they just look a little weird. Like I get Rocksteady looks like I imagine he's probably close to what he would have been with a Jim Henson puppet. I think if they would have made his snout a little bit longer, I would like it more, make him a little more rhino-y. Because right now he just looks like a big comparison people have made is he looks like the boss from the Dinosaurs TV show.
Awesome. Speaking of, I would have loved a box set of that dude because I loved the dinosaurs and we only got 2.
You have to assume that line's dead because we got multiple of what's his name, and then we got the baby, and that was it.
Clear. Yeah.
If I had $1 for every toy line that NECA didn't finish, I'd have 2 houses.
You could afford to actually pre-order some of their new figures.
And then also NECA released those new monster figures, which once again are cool,
but
I think they're a little like too concept-y, too high.
They're too what if,
like,
too like their take on it. This feels like a Mondo thing. This feels like something Mondo would do versus like
the one they've
established.
But Grove is the one that sculpted them, and he's a Mondo guy. Like he's the guy that was originally responsible for Mad Balls, and he sculpted that. Oh my god, I can't remember what the robot monster Krang android body and Krang as the Metaluna mutant, which is cool, but at the same time it looks too much like his Mondo-y sculpts. It doesn't look like can survive just by itself.
It doesn't look like it fits with the previous monster line.
Like
it's not like a realistic, like a close representation of what that thing was. Like all of the other ones were the turtles as those things combined, where this feels like an original concept using those two things as like
But Dracula
does
look dope.
Cool.
I love the Dracula. I love the Bram Stoker armor-esque stuff that he got. I just wish it was a little more red, like Bram Stoker's armor in the beginning of the movie. But and then the 2-headed turtle. A lot of people were like, "Oh my god, the 2-headed turtle's awesome." I was like, I'm not really seeing it. Like that's not a universal monster at all in my.
Like it looks cool, but I just there's nothing there. It's another original concept.
Just another one, So NECA had a great showing of all this stuff, but man, a lot of it just wasn't for me. So.
Yeah, I feel like the Mirage stuff for me killed it, and like I said, the 2012, those new.
The Sakai. That's what I was gonna say. Is the Sakai turtles are just like. Those are probably like every time they do a 4-pack, and I'm like, these are my definitive turtles from NECA.
Those are gonna be ultimates. Those will be individual.
Oh, that scares me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are gonna be individual ultimates.
That means they're gonna be like $50 a piece or some shit.
The only 4-pack that they announced was the mob turtles from Mirage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that someone somewhere said that those were going to be ultimates.
I do find it frustrating though that they came out with those before the Mirage, or not Mirage, the
Archie
normal one.
Like, I was talking to Wes about that.
Why on earth are they not releasing normal Archie figures? We have the Mutanimals. Like, what the hell?
Could it be maybe they're afraid because the other ones aren't selling as well? Like, I still find Leatherheads and Mondo Geckos, and I also still find that 4-pack of the Wrestler Turtles.
4-pack, yeah.
Right, so, because they're goofy as hell. But I mean, you got to release the turtles now. I mean,
I agree. I 100% agree.
Even if they just do like NECA, like the NECA store or something. But
oh god, don't put that on us, Ricky Bobby. Don't do that. Don't make me have to pre-order it, pay up front, and wait 3 years to get it. No.
Yeah.
Super 7, sir.
That's NECA shop is not much better.
Yeah.
I remember. You should know. The amount of times I've had you bitch about pre-orders from NECA, where you're just like, oh, they shipped another thing before they shipped my pre-order. And I'm like, they're making them from scratch.
They keep announcing more things.
Yeah.
Like, stop announcing things and make what I ordered.
Make my re-release of this figure that I didn't get.
Yeah. I mean, but all of that was all my takeaway, my excitement for it.
Mm.
I don't know if there's anything outside of Turtles that I saw, but
they should just allow, like, they're so bad at like the pre-orders and the shipping and everything's like so confusing. They should just like open their warehouse up in Jersey and just be like, you guys can come pick it up if you want.
Honestly, had there not been the huge shakeup of the 3 things we initially talked about for Toy Fair, the topic tonight was going to be the NECA problem and just the shit show that they are right now with everything that's going on with them. So that might be the next episode next month if we don't have anything new to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't really a whole lot like elsewhere that like excited me. There was some G.I. Joe stuff that was kind of cool, but like nothing. Like there was only one thing that I was like, I want that for sure. Marvel Legends. The only thing that caught my eyes, I saw a couple people actually posing the Maximum Spider-Man, and it's pretty impressive. I'm curious to get it in hand. I did pre-order it, so we'll see.
One thing that I was super excited about was Nacelle, the Star Trek line that they came out with. They're like a Marvel Legends-esque, like a Star Wars Black Series-esque line for Star Trek. That being said, the selections of characters,
it was real weird, like a Super 7 selection, right?
They are so bad. They like not bad because they are great characters from great episodes, but you're starting this line off right off the rip, and you're like, I want to say 3 or even 4 of the figures are from one episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I remember hearing someone say that.
What are you doing? There are 180 episodes of Next Generation alone, I think. There's somewhere around there. Like maybe 160. But still, like, come out with one A-lister, you know? Give me a Geordie LaForge. Like, nobody wants a line like the Simpsons Super 7 line where you got all this kind of nonsense but nothing kind of complete.
And
in my opinion, you know, the reluctant adult podcast would highly disagree with me, but I just think it's super weird. Like, I would not want a shelf of just being like, you know, here's Homer, Snowplow Homer.
So first off,
like, all
Paul
like,
bitched all the time about the character selection. He loved the figures when he got them in hand, but he bitched about how stupid it was the way they did it. So I don't think he would agree with you too much. Speaking of which, go check out the goddamn Toy Therapy with the Reluctant Adult podcast. Paul and Bill came and chatted with us. Fucking Bill got dumped by a puppet, and you're only going to hear that story if you go watch the Toy Therapy. So let's close out the show here. I've got the Patreon input. I'm also got Nate's input because he thought we were mostly just talking about going over. Yes, Corey.
I'm all about these, Paul. These are where you're at, man.
He doesn't seem as impressed as you are by them.
How? I don't understand how. These are Marvel Legends, but Simpsons. That's what these are.
I think it's
They're
because he
amazing.
got spoiled by like how much nicer the Super 7 ones are, which is a rare thing to say about Super 7.
Not nicer.
I've also
Bigger.
got Nate's input. Nate thought we were mostly just talking about announcements from Toy Fair. So I'm going to try to dyslexically and with a very low-level reading read the Patreon input and Nate's input in a dramatic fashion like he would.
Reading.
This is going to go so terribly. This is from Nate. Not sure what route you're taking tonight, but I was most impressed by NECA. For the first time in a few years. New IPs like Howling and Terrifier, classic updates, Beetlejuice, and even horror deep dives like Halloween 6 Michael Myers. Sesame Street is continuing to look awesome, and like I mentioned before, a shockingly strong TMNT showing. So that was our wonderful co-host Nate and his input for the evening. I'm pulling up now. We've got 2 Patreon inputs. We've got from Christopher. My favorite announcement was Jetfire Void Rivals 3-pack. I just really got into the Energon universe. If you love Transformers and G.I. Joe, you will probably love these comics. Also excited to see what comes out of Mattel DC stuff, but do we know if Mcfarlane has completely lost the license? And then from
That's what I was screaming.
I'm curious to see what happens. Then we've got the 45th lyric. I'm curious about McFarlane's take on TMNT, and though I'm hesitant, we'll probably pick them up. Just too hard to pass up a new set of Turtle Bros. I also currently cherry-pick McFarlane DC lines, and I feel like I am more disappointed after opening them than I feel like I am having fun. They don't scale with each other nor with other lines, so it's really hard to fit them in anywhere. He did do a great job of making deep-cut characters, which I think Mattel will avoid, but if Mattel comes out with a DC line in similar size and style of their own, underrated Motu new Eternia line, I will be excited. So thank you, Nate, and thank you to our wonderful Patreons for your support and for sending us your input. If you'd like to be able to send your input to us, or if you'd like to see any of the pre-recorded videos like Toy Therapy or How to Pose videos or toy hunts and other stuff that's coming up, head over to patreon.com/Modern Toy Fair and get all that stuff early. $1 a month. You can also submit your ideas for Nate's fake podcast at the end of the podcast, the actual podcast.
The real one.
Which he has stopped doing because no one's suggesting them and because he doesn't come up with his own ideas anymore because he got so used to someone else coming up for him. So if nothing else, go send some fake podcast ideas so Nate has something to talk about at the end of the show that isn't just a suggestion of a movie or TV show.
Hope him get his mojo back.
Yes. So once again, patreon.com/Modern Toy Fair. You can go into the link tree link below in our description of this video and follow all of our socials. We're on Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can go check out the audio-only version of the podcast on Spotify. We've got Discord server now. There's a link in there to join that. Come hang out, talk to us about toys, share your photos, all sorts of stuff. Tons of fun to be had. You can also check out Toytography Magazine. We have a link in the description for them as well if you want to see some tips and tricks of how to do toy photography. And listen, I'm tired. I had cheese for dinner. Okay, don't laugh at me, Jarmar. I don't appreciate it. So yeah, tips and tricks on how to do toy photography. Also some great interviews with tons of great people in the industry. Check that out. Link in the description below. Also go join their Facebook group where you can enter contests to have your own photos submitted into the magazine as well. And keep up with all the things Brian's doing. He's got a game show going on for the magazine. He's got weekly live streams, all sorts of stuff. So go check it out. Greatly appreciate it. You can check Jarmar out on I laugh at my co-host and friend when he can't speak well and sit there all high and mighty, but he doesn't remember that I still have the audio files from Jarmar's Reading Corner where he doesn't read so well either. Maybe I'll put those on Patreon one day.
Statute of limitation.
At Jarmar_games. Corey, where can everyone find you?
At the School for Children Who Can't Read Good. No.
Class size the two of us.
Instagram, Facebook, all those fun things. Threads, threads.
We don't have a Threads. I couldn't get into that one.
It's garbage.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Everything. Just Google search at Vile Consumption, and then you'll find all of those things. Everything. My stores. I got multiple stores now. I can't even keep track of
Moving on up to the east side.
No. But not this weekend, but next weekend, I will be in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, for Monster Mania, selling my stuff, and so check me out there.
Awesome. Cool. There will be links in the description below as well for Corey's socials. I believe at least one of your websites, and Jarmar's stuff is in there. He doesn't check anything or post anything, so do with that what you will.
He hasn't even accepted my friend request on Facebook.
Oh, I was gonna say that is gonna be the least likely, because I don't even know if I remember to log into that one.
That man made a Facebook just for was it a Facebook group or something?
No, it was the headset.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, and we
and then
all
I
added him, and then he
things on Marketplace, and then I don't know if I remember to log in on that.
If anything, I think I want to get rid of my Facebook. It's terrible.
I just use it for at this point to share memes, the occasional life update, and then mostly like buy sell trade groups.
What kind of memes? All right, let's end it. We don't want to get into that.
Real quick announcement before we go, though.
Oh.
Starting with this episode, going forward, just to test some things out because of the way the algorithm works, I will leave the live stream up overnight so anyone who started it can finish it. But Thursday morning, I will mark it as unlisted, so that way you can't go back and watch it unless you have like a link or something like that. And the show will be reposted with the like starting soon stuff edited out on Friday morning, just like it used to be back in the day, just to see if that improves the numbers. Because for whatever reason, YouTube and live streams are kind of iffy, and the live streams don't go into your videos, and it's a whole thing, and it doesn't push them like it does videos. So I'm just testing it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't change anything, I'm far too lazy to want to put that much effort into something that doesn't improve anything. So it'll go back to normal. But starting with this episode, going forward for the time being, Thursday morning, the live stream will disappear off the feed, and the full video will be reposted Friday morning. So if you missed out, I am sorry, but you'll at least get to rewatch it on Friday if you didn't watch it all the way on Wednesday night into Thursday. So anything else before we go, boys?
Okay. Nope.
Awesome. Well, on that note, hopefully see you next week. Same toy time, same Toy Fair channel with the Toy Therapy with hella dope toys.